behind us, right on the side of us. You could kind of see the thing moving through the woods.
All I can remember is flipping the light on, and I see this creature, and I knew in my heart, I knew in my mind, in the whole night, this isn't a man.
And then this thing walks across the road, takes a turn towards us, and then leaps over a guardrail.
Went to look forward, and there was a big black face.
Welcome to Squatch-D TV, exploring the Bigfoot mystery each week with your hosts, veteran researcher, author, and TV personality, the Squatch detective, Steve Kulls, and from the Bigfoot Research Project of Kentucky, Chris Bennett. Sit back and buckle up as we bring you guests from around North America discussing the Bigfoot phenomena, but not without a few laughs too. Here are your hosts, Steve and Chris.
And good evening, cyberspace. Welcome to Squatch-D TV for today's date, October 24th, 2021. I'm your host, your guide, the Squatch detective, Steve Kulls, along with, well, there he is. There he is.
Steve,
Mr.
what's going
Chris
on, my man?
Bennett.
Oh, man, I'm sorry. I didn't have my intro music on cue. My bad.
That's okay. And, of course, we're welcoming back to the show Mr. Mike Hand from Tactical Bigfoot Research. Hello, Mike.
Hi, kids. How are y'all doing tonight?
My compadre. So let's do the roll call, and it's quite the roll call. We got OT, who was first in the house.
OT.
No, I'm sorry. Low Rider was actually first in the house 3 hours ago. I don't know if he's in there now. And we got B, of course. B Lim is popped in there. OT.
Yep.
Mike from Texas Bigfoot Rangers. He's out there, and he's
Mike,
up, y'all.
Texas Mike.
Yeah. Texas Mike. And let's see who else we got. Bigfoot Okanagan.
Hey,
Hello, Leon. I don't know if you're still here, but of course, our good friends Brian and Chewy go hiking.
Brian.
Check his channel out. Bob Lemley, he's got his coffee ready to go. Hello, Bob.
Bob.
And we got who else? We got rolling. Jay Fritz. Hello, Jay. Good evening.
Hi, Jay.
Good to see you, brother.
I see Aaron.
Let's see. Keith Worley. Keith, good to see you,
Hi,
my
Keith.
friend. Rod Dupree is in the house as well. JD Sedona. Welcome. Ammon
JD.
Chris. Lester Taylor. He's been becoming another regular in the house.
Welcome, Lester. Good to see you.
And Bo Sox 3113, and I know who that is because he gave me it's Enrico Palazzo. I know who that is too. All I can say to that is, when I see 5 weirdos in the park stabbing a man in the back wearing togas in full view of 100 people, I shoot the bastards. That's my policy. So he'll get the reference to that one, and I don't know if you all get the reference to that one either. Frank, that was a Shakespeare in the Park production of Julius Caesar. You shot 5 good actors. Good ones.
Oh, terrible.
Yes. So, and as far as Mr. Bosox 3113, so I hope he's bowing back. And off we go with the show tonight. And boy, Bigfoot New York Todd, new in the house. Hello, welcome. Good to see you. So,
Is
man,
that Todd?
We're getting to see some new faces, and we love that.
Welcome, Todd.
So we're gonna have a little fun tonight, as well as talking about a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Good God, today's show just kind of flowered, and Doug Hycheck couldn't make it tonight, but he did forward a statement to me and some pictures, which are very interesting. And of course, we got Mike on tonight, and we're gonna be talking not only about UV inherent the UV light analysis he's been working on and potential Bigfoot hair. We're also going to revisit our In the Field episode too for a couple of videos as well, because Mike pulled the audio today, sent it to me. I got it enhanced one part the best I could, because we were kind of talking when that tree knot came in. And then, when the rock got thrown at us, we were having a little bit of a signal distortion where we were. So that's good to know for next week's episode, by the way, because next week, weather permitting, and I think we're going to be okay. We're going back for our Halloween expedition. Chris is going to be in the nice warmth of his home. I'm going to be out there. We're going to have Michelle and Sherry back. We're going to have Scott and Tim with us, both very experienced hunters. I don't know if Mike's going to make it, but
I've got a conference the next morning, so I don't know, but I know Joe mentioned about coming up from out my way. So
we'll see how that's all going to happen.
Well, I'm glad that, because I remember, I was like, I wasn't on the show last time, but I was watching you guys in spirit on YouTube from the.
Oh yes, that's Todd from Whitehall. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. He was up with us at Carver's Falls. Well, good to see you, brother. Glad you could pop in.
And I couldn't get the audio from the live stream when y'all were doing it, so we got that tonight. So
yeah. Well, the funny thing is, when we did that field stuff, nobody could really hear, other than because the mics on the phones are just very limited. They're noise canceling.
Yes.
So a lot of the stuff that was going in the background. Now, I didn't really have time. There was a lot of owls on that thing. It was really cool. We got a heron as well when we went down by the swamp. There was a heron call. And that was really cool. But there was two pieces that, in my head, I knew what we heard. I knew that tree knock was loud.
Right.
And it was like, wow. And then later on, the rock. Mike, you heard the audio. It sounds like an avalanche.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we didn't know we were, our signal wasn't getting through as well. It was like, hey, you guys, and then all of a sudden it kicked through. It was really funny because, talk about high strangeness. Here we are in that area, and we lose signal when we don't normally lose signal. I know Mike's microphones went fakakta after that.
Yeah.
I had two different recorders going. One, it's done. It was working great. It no longer works. And then I run two microphones on the back of my backpack, plugged into my my recorder, and they're done after that trip. I must have zipped them into something, but that's what it gives us the ability to have that sound, because I was live listening, so I run in a set of earbuds in and then live listening what's going on behind me.
And it's kind of funny, and this is it coincidence that when we're sitting there and you say, hey, there is something to your left, I got a hot spot.
Yep.
And as that's going out, all of a sudden you're like, you can hear you going, I can hear you whispering, and then right before a whisper, you hear pop, And it was to us, it was very loud.
Yeah.
Was it not, Mike?
Yeah, definitely. You know, and for me, my hearing's going. I've spent one too many years as a recovery diver and around too many guns going off and other stuff. And so I have to live listen sometimes so I can hear what's going on without breaking down, and not old enough for hearing aids yet, but I think they're almost there. So it kind of helps out a little bit running that kind of setup. So,
and you know, the interesting thing is that we weren't tree knocking at all.
No,
we weren't.
We're just walking down the road.
We were just walking. We weren't even calling at that. We didn't do any calls. We didn't do any tree knocks. There was nobody out there, except the only person we could detect was probably, you know, a few hundred yards out across the swamp. So at that point, we're talking that person is maybe a mile away. That's firing the weapon or discharging the weapon. So,
well, you think is it just coincidence or possibly Murphy's Law that whenever you start to get some activity that the electronics seem to start going squirrely? Isn't that kind of weird?
I have no idea.
The night Scott and I were down in that area, Steve, when we heard that vocalizations, whatever it was, I mean, he had new batteries and everything, and it's like, you know, his batteries all of a sudden they're dead. You know, no recording, nothing.
You know, here's an interesting question to pose on that. Does infrasound have effect on electronics?
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know. I mean, it could.
Yeah, it could. I don't know, but that made it very, very interesting. So anyway, let's play the tree knock audio, and what we're going to do is we're going to show. And hello to Christy is in the house now. Hi, Christy. So what we're going to do is this video, the first portion has, and it's labeled, it'll have the original show audio. We don't really hear anything. And then we have Mike's audio configured to the best we can. There is a delay sometimes when there is, you know, that audio, like there is a delay, like there's a delay on YouTube. There's a delay. Even when I talk to you guys, there's a slight delay, and that kind of plays into the audio lining up, but it lines up for the most part. And here we go. Mike, I hope Mike is muted and off, so I don't know if he's here. Oh, there he is.
No, I'm here. Sorry.
Okay, so here we go. Let's hit this one. This is the tree knock. Where?
To the left, directly in front of you. Yep, moving. Where'd it go? Oh no!
What?
Knock.
Oh my Lord! You guys hear that? That was a tree knock.
Hot spot.
Where?
To the left, directly in front of you. Yep, moving. Where'd it go? Oh no!
What?
Knock.
Oh my Lord! You guys hear that? That was a tree knock.
Hot spot.
Where?
To the left, directly in front of you. Yep, moving. Where'd it go? Oh no!
What?
Knock.
Oh my Lord! You guys hear that? That was a tree knock. So I don't know if you guys caught that in the chat. Let me know if you guys heard that, especially on the amplified one. It's like you hear Mike go, "Oh no," and then pop, and then he immediately like pop, and then I'm like, "Oh, did you hear that tree knock?"
Yeah,
tree knock or a pop. Whatever it was, it sounded very hollow. It wasn't a tree breaking or anything like that. It wasn't a snap. It was a clear, you know, pop. So it's very, very, very interesting, to say the least. So there was something out there. I believe there was something out there. I mean, now I'm starting to get very concerned. When I went out there, I heard something circling around me. I wasn't going to say it was a Bigfoot. It could have been a predator, but it was trying to flank me, actually, which kind of made me back up. So as I'm moving forward by myself, something's moving back. So I move back. Mike joins me and we go down. Mike gets something on the flare. He sees like a hot spot, nothing definitive, and it's gone as quick as he sees it. And then several seconds later, we hear a tree knock, which is pretty amazing. We continue to go on. We go past where that print is. We go over to the swamp, and then the rock throw incident happens.
Right.
And it sounds like an avalanche, but we're standing perfectly still. What's going on in chat, ladies? That was definitely a rock. We just have a rock thrown at us. What's going on in chat, ladies? Okay. That was definitely a rock. We just have a rock thrown at us. And you can hear that clear. That noise you hear back.
Yeah.
That's all the rock. We'll play it one more time because it's a quick video. What's going on in chat, ladies? That was definitely a rock. We just have a rock thrown at us. What's going on in chat, ladies? Okay. That was definitely a rock. We just have a rock thrown at us. And that is without any amplification, too. That was a rock coming down through the branches and then hitting the rocks on the ground just behind us. So, Mike, what were your thoughts on it? What was going through your mind when that happened?
It's another day in the woods with you. Something's always getting thrown at me for some reason. Not the first time, and I'm sure it won't be the last time somebody throws something at me when we're out.
We've had that rock throwing happen to us before. So that was really cool. It just,
yeah.
And you know, I wish, you know, I don't know if the broadcast quality, how the broadcast quality is, but when you're putting it into like WavePad and you're listening to it with the cans on, my God, you're like, oh. So I'm going to start parsing that. We got some great other sounds. We get some great barred owl sounds there. I think we got some coyote towards the end, I believe.
Yeah.
If we still the recorder, we're still going. There were some yotes that was to the west side of us. This was all going on as we were going in the mountain. We were actually heading easterly in the direction, and so pretty cool. I can't wait to go back again. We're going back next week, so who knows what's going to happen next
It'll
week.
be interesting if that big bird's back in there, because in being up in New York and hearing that pop on that pond, I mean, it was kind of like, I know I've heard this sound before. I know it's a bird, but it was like, what bird is it? Was it a sandhill? Was it a, great blue heron or something like that? But, you're not expecting that at 11 o'clock at night. It's more of a day or early morning kind of thing. And it was just like, oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
But thank goodness for BirdNet.
Yeah. That's a wonderful being able to go in and having that Macaulay library and having them down the, right down the street, actually in between the two of us, really. And we got to get over that wildlife area that they got over there, because they actually record right down near Ithaca. So they're getting a lot of that stuff native right here.
So before we start tonight's topic, the final topic I'd like to talk to is about Porcupine Gate. And in case anybody doesn't know about Porcupine Gate, longtime researcher Chris Noel, who tends to kind of be on the side of things, had this video of what appears to be something he claims to be a Bigfoot climbing a tree. And I don't know, close look is he's not very far from the tree. He's got a night vision scope on it, and he can't tell what it is. Well, let's take a look at the bogus Bigfoot roundup for the week. Here it is. Yes, this video is brought to you by that guy from Vermont, who liked to think a few years back that Rick Dyer actually shot a Bigfoot. Also happens to be pals with Mr. I'm going to shoot Bigfoot from behind, Mr. Scott Carpenter, and a very staunch Melba Ketchum believer and woo baiter, Mr. Chris Noel. And in this video, he says a Sasquatch is climbing up a tree. Well, obviously, as we look at it, does it kind of look like he's close to the tree? Maybe. But what it is, it's really a porcupine. And I don't know how we can miss this or misident this. This is the kind of guy that walks in the woods and thinks everything is a Sasquatch. He should go out squatching with Todd Stanley. They can make tremendous work. And by the way, this guy is so arrogant He likes to think he's one of the premier investigators in the Northeast. Well, if this is his critical thinking and strong rationalizations, well, I guess his college degrees really didn't work too well, did they? Well, anyway, this is the same cat who also asked me to lie about an evaluation I did, or by putting out some information that had already been out there on the web, and he blames me. So what does he do? He asked me to lie. Yep. What a character. Anyway, that's this week's bogus Bigfoot Roundup. And, of course, that is so easily seen as a porcupine. Yep. So, and by the way, he that first note was sent to our friend Bigfoot Okanagan, who tried to say, hey, listen, this is a porcupine.
Yeah.
He went into a very long discussion, and he was typing up really fast. I don't know if it was on a chat or whatever, but that was Chris's little try to, your apostrophes and blah, 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 blah. And this is for my good buddy Leon out there, Bigfoot Okanagan. Chris, here's your apostrophe right here, the missing apostrophe right there, buddy. And that's for picking on my friend Bigfoot Okanagan, and trying to think you're so great. I love the note he had sent me about where it would be really a shame if we didn't work together, as we are very we are very important researchers in the Northeast. Well, I'm glad to think he thinks he's so important. I don't. And Mike, you have something you want to share, and that's going to be this porcupine video, if you want to hit play on it. And I lost the sound. Mike, you're muted.
Sorry, the dogs were barking. I
No,
followed this little guy for a little bit, so
Yep.
you can actually see it is a porcupine going up a tree.
No, they do. They climb trees, and
They climb trees.
Yeah.
They have little feet. There's the little tail that you see in the video.
Yep.
Yep.
So.
And guess what? A porcupine is a nocturnal animal, and there it is in the daylight.
Yeah.
Because we Bigfoot Leon's there. He says, "Ha, thanks, Steve."
So you can definitely. I mean, yeah, they definitely see they got a little hand and stuff like that. So
I would think that Bigfoot Okanagan Leon would know what a porcupine looks like. I mean, I think where he's from, they invented porcupines, I believe.
Well, you would think that Mr. Noel would know what the hell a porcupine looks like. He's such a educated person and in the woods a lot, and he lives in the woods, and he's written a whole book on how a Sasquatch has been living with Sasquatch, and talks about that. So
yeah.
So to me, he's gone, and he's a very like I said, a woo type of person, and there we go. So
I'm big.
Yeah.
Make me small.
Yep. So let's get into tonight's topic. And in the chat, you can't necessarily see that, I think.
Oh, wow. The chat is hopping. Oh, Bobby.
Oh, and guess who's in the house? We got not only is Mick in the house, but we also now have Timmy Boy's in the house, and Alan Grasshopper's in the house.
Timmy Grasshopper, there you are. Good to see you, Alan.
So for that fact, let's get, I don't know, Mike, do you want to do Doug's letter first?
Yeah, go ahead and do Doug's letter. I can explain a little bit more. So what we're talking about is, okay, I'm not muted. I'm sorry that the two dogs in the other room are making a little more noise than they usually do.
Hey, man, we're used to it, dude.
Yeah. Well, mine are a little bit bigger than both. Well,
yeah.
He's got one a little bit bigger, but yeah. So we have the Sasquatch pink hair experiment, where we're actually asking for help from the public. So it's a UV study in relation to hair. I'll let Steve pull Doug's end of things, and I will bring up my end of the house here. So
I will say this. when we were in the field a few weeks ago, we had used UV light. We had switched from white light to UV light to look around, and the difference on the camera was phenomenal. You could actually make out a lot more contrast in the woods and detail. It actually didn't seem as washed out, so you could actually get further using the UV light and the regular cell phone camera, which is what the field remotes basically were. Was just a cell phone with that. So Mike was talking to me about it a bit, and it got me very interested. And unfortunately, Doug couldn't make it on the show tonight, but he did send a prepared statement for us talking about the UV study. So let me read it to you what Doug had to say. Let me pop number 1 up, which says, I, Doug Highcheck, has had numerous reasons to suspect that Sasquatches might see in the UV spectrum, just like caribou have been proven to do. UV vision would allow a predator to see an animal prey sign easier, like urine trails they leave behind, as urine actually glows in the UV spectrum, due to a chemical in the urine called phosphorus. Finding rodents, toads, and other mammals like deer would be very easy to track day and night, as long as these small animals, such as rodents and amphibians, like toads, do urinate constantly. Caribou use it to see plants and lichen that is higher in nutrition. Also, it is used to see predator urine like wolves and to find their own herd urine trails from when they are left far behind during birthing their calves. Having UV vision is actually more of a primitive vision system as far as I know, but it is still very helpful for a wild creature that makes its living purely by hunting and gathering wild food.
Primarily at night.
So I also suspect black bears and other large animals may see in the UV spectrum, and may have been talking about the possibility on many other podcasts. Bigfoot seeing in the UV light spectrum could also account for them spotting camera traps, ? What the white plastic on passive sensors and many colored plastics are more visible under UV light. Boy, that makes a little sense. This is why I checked Bigfoot hair as far back as almost 2 years ago with a UV flashlight to see if anything glowed or reacted to UV light that would be considered remarkable. I also wanted to see if their sebum glowed. Nothing terribly remarkable was observed at that time. However, something was missing in my procedure. Mike heard me discussing this possible vision quality, and prompted Mike Ann to ask me to do the same, but now to look through it with my iPhone camera. I did so out of interest, and a bright pink reflection was seen and photographed in what looks like the medulla of a hair when the light was close into the side, flush with the hair level. This is a brilliant connection on Mike's part. However, Mike and I both know far more consistent testing is needed to see if there is a distinct pattern. Could this hair quality and UV vision also help them camouflage or locate each other? We just don't know. At this point, we don't even know with 100% certainty I was testing Bigfoot hair, but again, I believe it might have great potential. If what I tested was in fact hair from a Bigfoot, I don't know. I do know is that the morphology of the hair tested by me matches the standard of what I know for Sasquatch hair features. I make no statements that all of this information has any real significance as of yet. Mike Ann, through hard work, is spearheading the study and working with another scientist to come up with some preliminary scientific conclusions. A fellow researcher, Jeff Harding, obtained fur from various North American animals at a taxidermy shop and states it does not have any similar qualities. But I have not tested it myself, so I cannot vouch for this at this time. If other animal fur does not react to UV light in the same way this might aid in the future to ID Bigfoot hair, it will be an easy test for anyone to conduct for about $6 for a small UV flashlight, providing they follow my simple method listed below. And if in fact only Bigfoot hair gets intense pink highlights, it could yet again may give scientists yet one more difference between human, animal, and Sasquatch hair that will further the argument that Sasquatch is a real species. And finally, even in some human hair gets pink highlights. Yet a researcher found a clump of hair on a tree twist off or on a high wood power line pole that is doubtful would be human. This procedure may still offer significance and importance due to the bright pink highlights combined with other unique morphology traits like tapered ends, wavy, wispy, and lack of medulla. Plus, more advanced examination will reveal human-like hair scaling. I do not believe the hair is fluorescing or glowing. Excuse me. I do not believe the hair is fluorescing or glowing like a northern flying squirrels do, but rather reflecting, absorbing into the hair core. I have not tested many human hairs, but the ones tested so far do not have the same qualities under UV light. So the procedure is while looking through your iPhone or newer, other phone cameras and camera makes are untested to my knowledge. 2. Next, use a small UV flashlight of 3/4 inches in diameter from a very distance of approximately 2 to 3 inches away from the side and from the table level to avoid light bounce back and diffused UV light. Also use a darker background like a sterilized wood desk surface or dark paper, etc. 3. If it is Sasquatch hair, it may turn on bright pink highlights in the medulla area of the hair that is seen only through the phone. All right. So this is actually the hair he tested, I believe, right, Mike?
That is the hair that Doug tested. This is from sample he has from in his neighborhood that they collected. So it definitely does give a little different highlights to it. And I'm working on grabbing some German Shepherd hair so I can kind of show you guys as well, because I've got a microscope set up. So he's using the basic cheap dollar store or Harbor Freight UV light. We're using a couple other different spectrums. As Steve knows, I carry one with me. I just picked up 2 new ones today because there's a bunch of different wavelengths that the light works in. And as soon as I grab some hair here from the shepherds, let me run out and grab that quick. I've got some porcupine that's out in the garage. I don't like to bring it in the house. So give me 1 second to grab.
Hey, Mike,
that.
do you have any porcupine quills we could test too?
Yes, I do.
Right.
Give me 30 seconds. I'll be right back with that because I can put it underneath the microscope. So, All right. So I'll stop that for 1 second.
Yeah.
So this is very, very interesting stuff that's going on here. What it does is it's kind of like a presumptive test. If this proves to be something, okay, it's in UV. Now we know we can test this hair for DNA or whatever. So
that would come in handy with identifying. Yeah, if it has that marker, glows pink under UV, that would be a good way of saying, "Hey, we've got one for the test tube here."
Sure do.
That would be cool.
That would be.
Did Mike say he had a porcupine living in his garage, or is it just in the garage?
I have no idea what he said.
Maybe
He said something about a porcupine. Also, I'm like, huh?
Porcupine in the garage, living or dead.
And Aaron was right. He goes, it'd be super easy to make a huge database of samples for comparison. Yeah. Here's some deer. Run it through, take some pictures. Mike has now a microscope.
Yeah.
So he'll be able to and you got to understand, Mike, coming from a law enforcement background, still involved in law enforcement. He's a very analytical guy. Very, he's taking things and he's working with a scientist as well. I know the scientist, great guy. And Grass asked, what kind of camera is Doug using to view the UV? He's using an iPhone at this point in time.
Yeah. Well, he says,
bro, we need cheap answers.
It says iPhone X.
And well, I got to tell you, after seeing Mike's equipment, I can understand why one is broke. He's got some fly equipment for UV, and hey, we got bushwhacking with Rooster.
Bushwhacking with Rooster. Okay.
So it's a very interesting premise, and sometimes. The simplest explanations are or the simplest processes yield the most results sometimes.
There's something going on with their hair too. I mean, I don't know exactly what it is, but when I took my blob photos, okay?
Yep.
You know, they kind of blended in kind of green, and I'm like, wait a minute now.
See, let me give you a good example what I mean by the simplest. Now, we have so much in these crime scenes with DNA,
Right.
but nothing beats getting a good a fingerprint is actually more condemning than a DNA sample at a crime scene, believe it or not. Because that fingerprint will be in a particular location. Like, you know, oh, they're all having beers and the guy gets shot and,
Right.
you know, they lift a print off of one of the beer bottles. That's their suspect.
Yeah.
If they just find DNA in the house, the guy could say, well, you know, I hung out with the guy. It could have been left there anytime.
3 years ago. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But the fact that fingerprint is on the beer bottle, that, like I said, that is more condemning than.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yep. So sometimes the simplest gives us more definition. And this is like one of those cases where here's this little cheap little doohickey, and okay, there's Mike. Go ahead, Mike. You can narrate.
Okay, so I've got the microscope up. I got to do a oh nope. You got so it's not really a share screen. I'm using my camera now.
Hey, Mike, just so Alan, a good friend of ours, said, explanation, cameras have a filter ahead of the CCD chip to filter out the frequencies above the natural human vision. Using a full spectrum camera will show a higher resolution of pixels.
So yeah, so there is some change. We are working with, so this is the shepherd hair.
Can you put Mike up on the screen real big?
I'm going to try.
So...
let's do this.
So it just close. Yeah, there you go. So this is shepherd. So you're going to get some highlight on the outside of it. So this is with a 375 UV light. So if you look at the way Doug's is, kill the other light here. So has his pops. It's popping inside. This is kind of reflecting off the outside. So again, this is shepherd. Now that's with the UV. If I switch over and turn on the white light, you see you don't really get much of anything. We can go to an IR. Now he is using the cell phone cameras. Right now, what I'm using is a digital microscope. So I can use that. So again, this particular unit I'm using is running in the UV spectrum of 375 on it. And then we have another one here that runs 475. And this is a big industrial. I was at a gem show today and picked up a bunch of new lights. So getting them up and running. So this spectrum is going to be a little different. So it's not like your traditional black light. So again, this is a very low wavelength.
And that is very black.
Yeah. And that's nothing is coming up on it.
I see something.
Yeah. So
yeah.
There's very slight.
Very slight. But if we pull up, and we're going to go up to the other one. So this is another wavelength. You're going to get a little different. So what we're getting with the hair sample that Doug has is it's coming up in the medulla. So it's coming up in between. Switch over to the other one. Go back to the traditional light that I carry with me in the field all the time. So this is pretty much the highlights of the hair. So his is coming up right inside the hair itself, and those pictures really do not do it justice. So that's German Shepherd on a yellow background. It does make a difference if you use a black background. Switch it over here. So again, you have to have the light at about a 75-degree angle. You're not going to shoot straight into it. So it's not glow. He calls it a pop. This is just the luminous from the camera. So you can see each of the individual cells and everything like that. He's getting it nice and close. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, that's on a black background. So, and it doesn't matter. The frequency has a difference. That's why the study. So we're going to switch from there. Let me turn some light back on here a second, and we'll switch over to the porcupine.
Okay, a couple of things.
Yep.
Okay, Grass says that it doesn't matter what light frequency you use, the camera has to have the capability of seeing that frequency, which all cameras are limited by anything. Yep.
That is correct. And I think I grabbed the wrong sample of the porcupine.
And one on the Bigfoot says, "What's a German Shepherd have to do with anything?" Well, that's very simple. I'll answer that.
All right.
Okay. For the same reason why you have to have a catalog of different hairs, and just because he's kind of showing the procedures on a German Shepherd hair, because that's what's available right now, some German Shepherd hair.
Yeah. So
and what it is,
porcupine's out in the garage though. Sorry.
Okay. The porcupine quill or the porcupine itself?
No, the quill.
Oh,
quill.
Okay.
No, we did not kill that porcupine. Switch. So, all right, where is my webcam? Oh, help if I turn my camera back on, huh? So, we went to a location with our buddy Joe there from Western New York. We were walking around, and we're going to call him Unk now, our unknown scientist, has a new method of collecting hair samples when we're in the field. So we're trying it. That's good old-fashioned plastic tablecloth. We're tying it to us. We're dragging it behind us in the field. The static electricity will pull hair. So there's some hair samples on this one still, dated, timed, or whatever. So, but
not using gloves.
Yeah. That one I know is porcupine. That was a sample. Yeah, I have tweezers and everything right here in my kit. We got some nice little small ones actually to carry in the field now that are nice and sterilized, so they're in the containers, ready to go. We got some more forceps as well. Let me pull up this study here quick. So I'm going to share a screen. So, Steve, I just sent you a share screen.
Yep, going up.
Okay. So, for folks to take a look at this, I move my studio around here, guys. That's why I'm kind of discombobulated. Usually my computer monitor was up on my right side. It's now on my left. So every time I move the mouse going looking for it, I'm on the wrong side of the room.
That's why you got to get 3 monitors, Mike.
There is another 55-inch to the right that I could use, and Christy was borrowing a monitor from me, so she's returning. So, yeah, I will have 3 monitors back here. So I don't need another one. I can set another one up. So you've seen my little field monitor. That's over here, too. So anyway, so what we have here is the actual data collection sheet. So let me explain to folks that have the question about the lights. So I am working with a zoologist, and we just picked up 2 other scientists to give us a hand with this project. They specialize in light frequency and animal vision. I can't say where they work and stuff like that at this time because it's the study it started with Bigfoot, but it's completely gone the other way. To the point that we're out chasing down the flying squirrels in New York. We're lucky to have flying squirrels, as Doug has them in Minnesota. And when you hit certain animals, flying squirrels, possums, and certain marsupials like wombats and platypus, with the UV light, with your eye, they will fluoresce a color. The North American species will fluoresce a pink. Those marsupials from Australia will fluoresce in a UV blue-green. But that is with your naked eye. This is done with a camera filter. So what we're looking for from folks is to help us out. And again, this is a theory. This is not the end-all, be-all. This is kind of say, if you've got 45 samples of hair, and we can go ahead and run this test, and they fit the other parameters of, me go back up here to the top here. So there's a whole paper. So Doug sent you just kind of the little sample of what he's asking for. But there's actually a 5-page paper of what we're looking for with the data collection. But the whole thing to start with is, was the hair wispy? Should be at least 3 to 9 inches. Was it wavy in appearance when placed on a flat surface? It could be of any color, and I know those folks have been around here for a while and looked at it and looked at Fehrenbach's study and stuff like that. Tapered ends, doesn't look like it's been cut with mechanical means. And that's why I have the digital microscope in there, so we can really look at what's available. And did you examine under microscope? Did you see that intermittent medulla? I'm trying to think where that sample is. It's in one of the bins from the hair we collected in the Adirondack, Steve. It's that I got on plates and stuff, but it was, again, I'm moving everything around in here. But when we go in, the equipment you're going to need to go ahead and run this thing, the collection, and what it's on. Let me come back down here. So, see, again, the whole procedure's in here. But, we want to know where this sample is taken from, because is there something in the environment that's causing the hair to give it that pop? Is it the hair itself? So was there something, like I said, certain saps or something like that? The color, the lengthness, if you can measure the thickness, the weather conditions, and then the equipment. And that's going to be the big thing. And let me zoom in on that. So
we're getting a lesson in Microsoft Word today too.
Yeah. And that's come on, Mike. So maybe Bigfoot's outside, Chris, to your theory either that, your equipment never works when you're doing this stuff.
Yeah, you must have hair nearby. That's
okay. Yeah, we're gonna go with that one, Steve. I'm the guy with the gray hair. Yeah. So all right, so we're looking for the cell phone type, the make and the model, and the UV light that you're using, and the wavelength. So I want the model, the type, the brand. That way we can really have an idea of what everybody's using. Like I said, right now I use 3 different lights while I was here running things. So each one has a different wavelength.
Yeah.
That they're putting out. So they're each going to give you something different. I'm also looking for a backup view under IR light. So we have the white light, our general, what we're seeing, the UV light, and an IR light. Are they giving a different location or a different coloration off? And then we're looking for photo samples of those items. I'm also asking for folks to turn around and videotape what they're doing, so the process can be repeated with the hair samples that are out there. There's actually an additional sheet that's available to really give us more information and that data that's on there. And but again, where the pictures of the collection site, where it came from, the time, the height of the ground. So I'm going to stop that share. So each of those is going to give us something a little different. And Jeff is taking a look at, multiple different types of hair. Let me see if I got a bigger picture of that. I know I do. So you guys can get a better look at it. Here, let me give you a quick share of the flying squirrel.
okay. We do have a question in the chat.
Shoot.
So so crazy question. Ketchum stated the samples he tested also had a broken medulla. So should her study be completely discounted, or as more testing is done, can we verify her process? I think, if you ask me, Haskelhart broke it down pretty well. any hair sample can have a broken medulla. It seems that the Sasquatch hairs that have been collected over the years and have, I guess, been, physically looked at, which resemble primate hair, like found in Oregon and places and such as those, where, other than us, there is no other primate, lacked any medulla. There was zero medulla. And I think kind of Doug was, hitting on that, the lack of medulla may be the reason why this UV light is having this type of effect on the hair. So there may be something there. But as far as Ketchum's study, should she be completely discounted? Yes, because her primer was wrong. And I think Dr. Hart kind of really drove that home.
I thought so, yeah.
And that was something I was saying before even Dr. Hart came along, was it seems to me the primer was wrong for that test. So, because I mean, come on, it was coming. I mean, first we heard it was, and the person to talk to on this is Jeff Stewart, Crypto Hulk Jeff Stewart, who, had gotten the emails from, because he was involved with the Ketchum study for a while. And then he said, I'm out. First there's, she had said, oh, there's Nephilim DNA. Well, who has Nephilim DNA? And then she said there was angelic DNA. Who the hell has angelic DNA? Right. So there's a lot of problems with the Ketchum study, but good question.
That was a big issue. Yeah.
Yeah. Good question. It's very non-scientific, if you ask me. Just a lot of, okay. So Mike's got.
So there's a little different. So you can see that it has a little more pop. And again, that picture has been redone a couple of times, for him to put it in there. This is one of the original photos that Doug sent us. I know that there are some folks with some human hair that came up with some different setups. So what Doug was seeing is that when he was moving the light, only certain areas were getting that pop. It's not the full hair. It's those almost, he said it was almost like a fiber optic. Now, I have not personally had a sample of the hair in my possession. I don't. I went to Doug, knowing that he's been doing this stuff for a long time and had a lot of evidence sent to him. Here's the flying squirrels, where I meant they show that pink underneath the camera. And I'll give you the platypus too while we're here. If I get over to the right screen here. There we go. So they give you, come back here, StreamYard, so I can see what's going on. This wonderful, funky green.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So that was the big thing of taking a look at what was available. So we're looking to get as many samples as we can do. This is something for folks to get out with their kids and take a look at. And let me pull the study back up again.
Well, another thing too, Mike, if we kind of wonder what we're looking at, if we're looking at these hair samples and they have their fluoresce under a UV light, could that be a biological contamination on the hair? Like, could it be saliva?
Well, in that, Chris, that's a big part of it. Is Let me get down into the group here. So,
I tend to believe that these animals groom each other, and so there might be a good chance that it would have saliva on there.
Let me ask a question, Mike, and this gets very dicey from this point of view. Say you have multiple hair samples from the same target creature.
Okay. So
you're putting it under the light, and Chris made a very valid point. Is it perhaps it's a substance on the top of the hair, not necessarily, or topically on the hair, not rooted in the hair? So the question I have is, do you take one of those samples and drop it in a saline solution and clean it and then perform the test if you have multiple hairs, because if there is if you have multiple, you're not going to destroy DNA.
Right.
So let me explain the process, Steve. And I guess maybe that's what I should have done from the beginning. I started with Doug's stuff, not figuring he was going to be here with us tonight. So
and before we do that, I just want to. Alan says, you're proving by me, dark hair soaks up infrared light, which is why they're a blob in night vision. Black hair, brown hair, so he's talking about infrared. We're talking about ultraviolet here, so a little different on the spectrum. Obviously, I think UV's higher on the spectrum, correct? IR is low. See,
there's a whole nother interesting thing, and it was brought to my attention the other day by our buddy, the unknown scientist there. So my co-pilot and team member is his brain works on very different levels. As Steve has met my partner in crime here, and but he has to remain anonymous.
So if there's any question, because people will always say, well, how come the scientists aren't there? I've met a couple of the scientists, and there are scientists involved in this.
And this gentleman is really run, and he's put 2 other projects on the side to really jump on this. Grasshopper, I am using UV as another control. There's a great little video that he sent me today that really kind of gets into it. Basically, so the background on this, I was trying to figure out how do we do my show from the field. As we started this show out with Steve, we went out and we did a remote. So I have another podcast that I do with Christy London, who's in here. We do Where's My Sage? And occasionally we go out in the field and do our show live from the field. I was trying to figure out the best way of filming, and a crazy thing about using web cameras and your phone cameras is that underneath different lights, you're going to get different spectrums of light, where you're not always going to have to use that setup. And of course, do I have IR in here? No, everything's out in the car because we were out in the field last night. At least I don't think I've got one in the bin here.
You're going to wake the porcupine up. Be careful.
Yeah.
I bet that shepherd's not in a happy mood either, losing all that hair.
Yeah, well, I didn't grab the Doberman. That was a smarter move. We would have been here for hours trying to get hair from there. But what happened is I was using different wavelengths of light. I noticed that I could use an IR, and then I thought, man, I'm seeing UV do something different. I've been using UV light. I come from a law enforcement background. It's been used to look for things. With dogs, it's been used to look for samples around the house that have been left. Yes, and blood samples and everything else.
So Aaron says, I think it wouldn't be good science if you didn't wash a sample.
No, and it would. It's probably a good thing to go in here. So I appreciate that, guys. And here's the thing: is
do you want that share screen back up, Mike?
Yeah, we can put the share screen back up as well. That's fine. So the collection. When you brought up in where we're going, the different parts of the body are actually different. When you look at hair, and guys, you want to go down a long, dangerous hole, start looking up the morphology of hair and the scales, the medullas, the parts, the pieces of the hair. Human hair mimics just about everything in nature. Hey, Jeremiah. So having that sample is there. So, and you're going to get something from an undercoat. You're going to get a belly hair. You're going to get everything. So what I'm asking for, and again for the DNA thing, is that you take 2 samples. You take an A and a B sample. So if you're grabbing something off the head, you split your sample. you make sure it's put into a paper envelope. Down below are the descriptions on how to fold the paper. You're going to set a piece of paper up. You're going to fold it up in what they call a pharmacist fold. That hair sample is going to go with sterile tweezers, and everything's in here in the hair collection. And you're going to fold that up. You're going to put it in. You're going to date. You're going to time. And all that information is down below in the study. So we have that information. But I'm asking for 2 samples. And the big reason is everybody always tells me we gave our entire sample away. I didn't keep anything for myself. Well, if you're there and you're in the field and you can turn around and split your sample right then and there, split it to an A and B sample. I also, again, if you've got a subject, because we want known subjects. You're a deer hunter, you're a bear hunter, you come across a roadkill of a wolverine or a fisher, stuff people don't come across all the time.
Yeah.
If you can get a sample from the head, the back, the tail, and the underbelly, it's totally different. We're talking about the porcupine again. You've got the quills, which are a hair. They're just a different keratin, and that's just it, is where we're looking at things. So taking those different samples, and then you're going to label those samples. So each sample is going to be its own sample. And that goes, and all that description's in here. I want you to take a photo of the discovery site, a photo of where the hair was. So you find it on a fence post. You find it on the barbed wire fence. Take a photo of it. Where was it height-wise? So when somebody says, well, it came from here, well, is that the good old-fashioned, they come from a groin or the inner thigh, or they come from the top of the head? Is it the cow sticking its head underneath the fence and it gets caught on the back? I've got a sample of Holstein hair. The other day I put that under. That stays white.
AKA centerline bovine.
Yeah. So
my favorite, whippoorwill on the grill.
Flat cat.
In a pile or in a stack.
Steve, is Grasshopper Steve?
No, it's
Steve?
Alan.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Shake and bake snake.
So each
smidgen of pigeon.
Rigor mortis tortoise. Oh, bag and gag.
For everybody listening on the podcast, we're looking at the Roadkill Cafe menu. You kill it, we grill it.
That's right.
And that almost happened
with our special chef, Wheels Pierre.
And that almost happened to us, where we almost said, hey, we need to get all the collection kits, put them in the back of the car. And as we're driving to the location to go, sit in the woods, oh, there's a possum. We definitely can tell it, was there. It was one night I unfortunately hit one on the way to work, and I didn't have enough time to turn around and hit it with the light to see if it would, fluoresce pink. And I'm I came back after work. I'm like, it's squished.
I gotta ask. Does your wife very gingerly walk around the garage wondering what you have in bags in there?
No, I only have one bag of porcupine right now. So, and it's a small hair sample, and it's out there. And there's a whole thing of making sure that stale, you're gonna.
I can't even imagine what the mad scientist has in his house.
Well, you have the thermal video from the bear.
Yes.
That was a night. Everybody says, do bears poop in the woods?
Yes.
We got a bear on thermal for about 10 minutes, and we went back the next day.
Chef salmonella.
And the field that this bear was in looked like a giant litter box. And he had bear poop in the back of his FJ for a little bit, and I'm sure he's got plenty of, whatever. But the big thing is how we're collecting the hair. And again, here's the information. I want the sample number. Record it in a logbook, the GPS recordings, the time, the weather conditions, what it was on. Again, so there was a location we found, one of Steve's other guys, another Steve. I took the unknown guy down there with me, and we found what looked like nesting areas. And in that were seed pods of magnolia seed pods. And we couldn't figure out why the magnolia seed pods were there. And we couldn't find any of the trees in the area. They were on the outskirts of the property. But magnolia seed pods have an anti-insectant or what am I looking at? Yeah, insect repellent, natural insect repellent, almost like a citronella. And that came up recently with conversations between my partner and Doug and myself, and his sebum study was, is something like that being crushed and rubbed, into a skin, because it is a waxy type of material, and it's got that anti.
I got something to tell you, Mike.
Yeah. All right.
Scott Smith and I years ago got a track cast from a trackway that were the track we cast was underneath one of those magnolia trees that had the seed pods, and there were seed pods laying on the ground that had been opened everywhere. That was where we got a track casting. So that creature had spent some time under that tree with those pods doing something. Sure did. Something's going on with that. I believe you that rung a bell when you said that.
Yeah. It does. And then there's a lot of birds. JD, that's funny because this morning I went to this freaking mineral and gem show, and they're like, it's 100 grams for this, $100 a gram for that. I'm like, what did I just walk into?
Hey, how much for a gram of feldspar?
Yeah. I did get a really cool pirate egg though.
What?
But the size of the hair, the description, the color, and again, any smell. So is there something on there? So the oils or something that you're talking about. Yeah. But definitely sanitizing it, might be a really good point. And making sure that you have the gloves, the all your supplies ready to go.
Yeah.
And everything is in here, how to turn around and put the stuff down. So it's in the study, and then laying everything out and what you're going to use. And originally I mentioned to everybody to use white so you could see the hair on the sheet. The problem with using white is that when you hit the white with UV, you get that old college black light thing going.
Right.
So I noticed with yellow does not do the funky thing. Even black will do a little, give you a little purple haze. Yeah. So yellow, I'm using some yellow vinyl right now. Plus it's nice to clean up. So that's a switch out that came out today, and that's something we've been experiencing. And again, where did this stuff come from? What did you see it on? And again, the original sample that I found and went, oh my God, we got something, because it was the end of a trackway. It was in with a bunch of pine sap. So having some of that information available. So it's all in the procedure. The procedure's all there. And again, here's what we're looking for on the packet. The sample, the sub-sample. So if it is a sub-sample, what type of animal? Where did it come off the animal? Collected by? I want to know who collected. If there was any witnesses there, I want to know what witnesses were there when it was collected. That way we can talk to them somewhere down the line. How to do the pharmacist fold is right there. You're going to fold it into a 9. That center is where you're going to put it. You're going to fold that pack. You're going to fold it in half, in a quarter or a third, and then another third, and then boop, another third and a third, and makes a nice little pack. And then all this information is going to go on the outside of that. But again, the hair sample collections, all that information. So if it's a known species, we want to know if they're known species, because we don't have a control. We can't go back and take a look. And if we have that control, and this particular hair sample, shows the same, what am I looking for? The same characteristics, and we can compare it against something. Again, like I said, it's to rule out a larger sample. You guys have been doing this a long time, and how many times you get a whole bunch of horse hair or cow hair sent to you because it's got that kinky look. It's found near the barbed wire fence, or underneath the tree or something like that, or across the barn, or it was on a horse trail. There's a lot of places that we go. There's a lot of horse trails, and oh my God, I found it because it's that auburn, or chestnut looking hair. Yeah. Well, is it that tail hair? Because somebody was brushing their, pulling some burdock out of the horsetail.
Right.
So where that location is, I'm asking for the photos. Again, this is the form I was looking for. So you literally can click on the link, and you can go ahead and drop them right in this. It's a fillable dock in any distance. So the packet will be available tomorrow afternoon. It's the final deadline. It will be out there, Todd. And I know you sent me an email the other day. We're going to put it out there. All the descriptions are in there. We actually have an email address set up, and it is bigfoothair2021@gmail.com.
Oh, that's a good one. That should be easy to remember. bigfoothair2021@gmail.
Yep. So, and again, this is something you guys can do with the family, but we're working with a museum, getting some samples, some known animal samples. The other thing Alan had mentioned was the IR light bleaching stuff. So you can what they call photo bleach with UV light, and that's something that was described to me the other day, and that's where I didn't get through. Thank you, Steve. If too much UV light is put into something, it will actually photo bleach. So it's the actual hair will react to different things. Everything will photo bleach. And again, I didn't go to school for optics. I didn't go to school for color science. My background is in criminal justice and archaeology. So give me a whole bunch of stone tools, especially Ashley and hand axes. That's my background in looking at a crime scene. But so if there are folks that listen that are, have a background in this kind of stuff, we're definitely interested in talk. We're got a nice phone call and from Steve from Curious Cryptids, and he gave us some things, and he's trying it. And again, folks, it's something we can all try. And see what we can get. But again, having the documented stuff in the sample. I'm going the wrong way. That's what happens when you have too many screens. You guys are lucky I don't have the audio up right now, but Joe from Western New York, Bigfoot, when he coughs, sounds exactly like Steve Kulls. And on my audio recorder, this is not Steve Kulls. Like all night last night, this is not Steve Kulls. As he hacks and tries not to. But again, having the UV light type.
And for our folks on our audio replay at iHeartRadio, all those Audible, Amazon Music, Spotify, for an autographed picture of Mike, email I am making a Bigfoot toupee at gmail.com. Sorry, Mike, I just had to.
No, I am not a graphic artist either, because I was trying to come up with a pretty good graphic to go with this, and trying to find like an Elvis toupee on a pink, on a Bigfoot pink hair or something like that. I haven't had enough time to play with like Canva or something like that. But again, all this information is here. What we're looking for, the actual, and again, we need to be sure it can be replicated. So always having that light source 3 inches away, what the cell phone is, and again, every camera is going to be a little different. And,
this is real science, Mike. This is real science. This is the way it's done.
It's the way we're going. Once this project is up and running, the next thing will be the 3D scanners. And I've been talking to a lot of folks about that. Steve knows that's a big thing of mine. And actually, I've been doing 3D rendering, on site with some of the apps. We did it while we were up at his house. Right. So when you find it, you can 3D render. So you can go back and take a look, where that sample was taken from. I mean, stuff is available on your phone as long as you don't kill your phone,
And the beautiful thing about that is with a 3D rendering, say there's a sighting, you can 3D render that. You can go back to it to see that area as it was when it happened. I think it's huge, and it's important that the 3D rendering is used.
Yeah.
imagine 3D rendering a track. That stuff is quintessential. And you can always go back and look at it and see something you may miss, or you don't know what's going to happen in the future, where you may actually need to go back and say, hey, this is something new. Let me go back and look at what, what there is. Maybe there is for example, like the magnolias, the nuts from the magnolias. All of a sudden, you go back and, you look at your 3D scan and you're noticing this pile of nuts or a magnolia tree or whatever.
It's like a seed pod thing.
Right.
Like.
So it's always good to go back, and now you have this wonderful.
I'm looking for the 3D objects I did the other day.
Yep. And where?
And again, anybody that's interested, we are definitely will be getting this package out. Again, the history. Again, it was coming out. What we're getting out there, and with Doug's background, with all the different cameras he designed, I mean, it's just an amazing way things are coming up. So let's see if this model opens up here for me.
And as people start collecting hairs and stuff, it's important, you can buy a microscope now, like one of those little USB microscopes, plugs in your computer, and they're not very much, like, maybe $20.
Alan said that anthropology and camera tech nothing to do with each other, and that's the way I like it.
This is the setup I'm using right now.
Yeah.
Big
got its own monitor. That's cool.
Yep. It's got its own.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. Okay. So Alan had made a comment that, anthropology and camera tech nothing to do with each other. That's the way I like it. I didn't see the hee on that, but in actuality, it's got a lot to do with it. There was a guy doing some looking at forts and by 3D mapping a 3D mapping Fort Mifflin. He went to Turkey to one of the oldest Knights Templar forts and 3D mapped that.
Mm-hmm.
And as it turned out, they had a lot of similarities from the entrance hallway to how the ports were made. And so it was very, very interesting. Yeah. But, it's always important to, and I know he's saying not in my research, I keep them separate. I understand that. But, sometimes you got to use some new school stuff to look at. You can't always be stuck in old school. That's just my philosophy. Always go back to, like I say, old school is something you always go back to. But there you go, Mike. So show us what you got here.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is a particular scan. And unfortunately, this one doesn't do it justice, but I will bring it up on my phone. So looking for apps that go back and forth. This is scan 3D, but we can go in, and if I bring the phone up. So I actually have if my fingers work today.
You fat fingered it.
Yeah. So if we switch around here. So I can look at the same photo. So this is it with all the pictures on it. So the trees where we had everything. But now if we go back to the share screen.
Ooh.
Yep. This is the same setup. So I can actually go in and look at some of the materials where it's at and change some of the shading up and look at how things were set up. And this one's not doing it as well as it should. But let me go to the boot. So this is a boot print, but we can look at the structure from all different sides and really look what's underneath in inches. And we switch back to the other folder here.
And you're able to scan that with your phone, Mike?
That's with my phone. Yeah. So
Wow.
So what it does is it'll do. So this is a different one we did. Sorry. The problem these are free apps, so sometimes things go. But where we were at in this location, this will give you a 3D model. Now it's taking multiple different photos, and again, in the app itself, it'll give you some different. So models. Let's go to the boot. I have to figure out how I can share right from.
Yeah.
So this is a 3D print of a boot, but we can look at it all different sides and structure.
Right.
And look for the depth.
That would be a cool tool to have, especially before you even start well, is it worth casting? Should I cast it?
But here, this is going to bring up. So here's the boot. So it's actually taking. Get my mouse where it's supposed to go. It'll take this is the actual model where it'll build.
Right.
And it is going to take this particular one. I took 20 some odd photos to build that mosaic to give us the model. So to build this model here, it's taking that. So every time we want to do something, we're going to take those models, and it really will kill that one there. Stop sharing here. Oh, he's trying to take photos. And so Scan 3D is the particular app I'm using. But again, like I said, this particular one here was of a location we found a print, but I can take a look, and I didn't take that many. We're not going to do the ones of Steve's backyard, but like Steve's backyard, we did. But you can see that it'll make you go through and take photos of I think there's 1,000 photos that were taken to build this particular model. And 3D. You can put it in virtual reality,
right? Yep.
And put it in a VR headset, so you can actually stand in the middle and look at it underneath the setup. Here's another one we did. This one's a little bit better. Turn it in, so you can actually see the tree. Get my fingers out of the way. So the big thing is I am not a specialist on 3D printing or 3D scanning. We actually got a guy here in town that is working with me to kind of show me some of that stuff. But you can really take a look and get an idea of what's there. And then if we switch up the modes and I break it, so that one's 3D scan. The other one is Scan 3D. And again, it's going to take multiple photos. And again, you're going to get that whole look, and you can break it out and turn it different ways. And Microsoft has got a basic 3D app that's on your computer. If you have Windows 10, to turn around and look at the stuff. But there's a couple other programs that are available that'll give you a little bit better environmental.
I noticed mine's got that Paint 3D.
Yes.
So I don't know if that would, do it or not.
Some would do. It depends on the file. And again, doing more of the stuff that's available. So having those things that are there. But again, right now the big thing is the pink hair, the Sasquatch pink hair experiment.
Yeah.
So
now, Mike, I have a very important question.
Yes, sir.
Watch the following clip. Tell me what you think afterwards.
Oh no.
Steve is snomping off to get some. I'll get the other inflatable that we have out. Any other questions there from the audience? So it's a good thing it's beach ball.
Thank God I didn't dry up my thermal. That's
I made sure you were empty-handed.
You know what? There's an interesting thing too, folks. Do your research. If you're going to buy a thermal, do the research and look at the different setups. There's something else we're messing with. Steve and I have been using those Seeks for a long time. We ended up getting some extension cables, put them into the tablets, and stick them out the car windows instead of
the Seek thermals, not the tablets.
Yeah. No, the Seek. Yeah, but that head on a Seek thermal is better than the Scout TK, and it'll give you the ability to record sound and audio, or sound and audio. It's the same thing. It's been a long day.
Yeah. Well, so here's what I'm doing for next week's show. I'm going to try to work that up as as another feed into the show, as basically an infrared body cam.
Yeah.
And or a thermal body cam, basically. So be projecting out where I'm walking. So wherever I turn, it will be there. So I may mount it actually on a headlamp.
That would be cool. Everybody could say, "Hey, Steve, watch it! You're about to step on a snake."
They're an important feature. We're running. We put one on a 360 mount on a tripod the other day, and the Unk got to sit in the vehicle and had his Psionics color night vision mounted, co-mounted. And then, okay, here's what I got on thermal. Hits another button, switch to or grabs the other tablet, and he's watching it in, color night vision. And I'm like, he's recording with both, and I'm like out there freezing. And but
yeah, and we're talking, I have the Seek thermal unit. I have the tablet.
Yep.
And my tablet's in an armor case too, so that's even better. I'm debating whether or not to get a mount for the tablet for the vehicle. And I'm working on a clamp so I could set the unit on my railing on the Bronco. So it'll be shooting forward or maybe even off to the side. So I can sit there and position it, shoot off to the side as we drive down. We can actually see if there's anything hot.
I thought that thermal was really cool. That's the one you brought to Kentucky, right?
No, the Seek is the one that goes into the phone.
Oh.
And it's only about yay big, and it plugs into the phone. Into, since all the phones since I bought that have gone to the USB-C connector. It doesn't have a connector that can fit into a phone anymore.
You brought the FLIR TK with you.
I bought the FLIR TK.
Yeah. But Steve, the nice thing is that they make a wonderful little teeny tiny plug that goes into your micro C and then goes into the it goes in the micro USB, and then you can get a micro C adapter for it. So I can use it on any one of my devices. And the nice thing about it is, as long as somebody has the app in your party, you can go out and hand them the camera head and just let them go. We've done it at night. Hey, we've got my ATN going one way. We got a Pulsar going. Hey, you need something else? Here, just take this and run with it. Or I've got 2 different tablets going. And the cheap tablet I've got, it's got its own external power source, so you're not running into the using a micro USB.
Yep.
So you can plug it into an inverter, and it's powering itself, and you got the camera going, so you don't have to wait for a power up. So, but again, the big project right now is the pink hair, and like I said, guys, you can get the UV lights. Pretty much anywhere. You don't have to spend $1 gazillion on some of these. However, this new one, man, you want to talk about a laser rangefinder, and that's in the 375 wavelength. Is the one I picked up today, or the different black lights, and they're a lot of fun. And here's the thing: if you're in the South, that's why that one didn't work. He said he put Harbor Freight batteries in there. Don't use cheap batteries.
Hey, the other thing too is this is something you do not want to use in a hotel room if you're sleeping in it.
No, but here's another thing. Yes, this is actually the perfect kit to take in a hotel room because you can turn around and use your cell phone to look to see if there's IR cameras, because they will shine with your cell phone and your black light. So it's a good kit to take in a hotel room.
Might be a good idea.
And then your little teeny tiny sterilized tweezers with you. So you have the sample for the housekeeping staff that you did. For my travel partner who finds the hotels we stay at. Jesus.
So Mike, what else is on the agenda? I know you guys have been hitting some areas.
We've been out. Like I said, looking for flying squirrels. We've been working with Joe from Western New York Bigfoot Investigation Group, which it was, guys, 15 minutes down the road we hadn't hit yesterday. He took us to the location that Joe had the had his sighting at, which was really interesting to get into. He's one of the first people he's taken. I was one of the first people he took to his location where he had his sighting. And it was a very interesting area. Multiple sightings in the area around it. On BFRO and Pacific Northwest maps had some stuff. But watching his reaction on site was really interesting. And kind of doing the reenactment of where everything was. I'm sure we've got some ghost stuff coming up. Again, Tuesday nights we've got Where's My Sage with Christy, who's here in the thing. The incredible medium that she is. I got told by a bunch of coworkers this week how good she is because she freaked a bunch of them out. And interesting. As we do more and more scientific stuff, and I do run a full scientific team, I've got an entomologist. You guys have interviewed Ray, who's on our team, our Mapinguari guy. Christy still points us in directions of stuff. We were down working in a set of woods, and she's like, okay, you want to find the right forest? You're going to go to your next right's going to be a dirt road, and there's going to be a white farmhouse on the left-hand side with a large field and stuff like that, and it's a pretty good location. She had no clue where we were. No way of tracking us.
And there's
sure enough, next road's right, dirt road, White House. Last night was, find the number 28 and don't run. I'm like, I'm in the middle of the woods. What are we running from? And the two guys I'm with, I don't have to run. I got those two guys not to run. So, as divers, we always say, the person who swims the slowest gets eaten by the shark. So the same with the bears. But she's put us on some stuff. It's kind of weird. But most of it, again, we're going back to scientific stuff. We just kind of pop it over the top. Be open to everything that's out there, guys. That's all I can say is learn from everybody. So
yeah, there's good advice. I can't wait for next week. Next week's show is going to be fun. I just hope it gets a little warmer. The only reason why is because last night it dropped to 32 degrees here.
Oh, we had snow last night. We had all intentions of camping out at the location, and it started to rain. I was just going to sleep in a chair. Paul had his stuff all set up to sleep in his hammock, and Joe had his air mattresses and the dogs and pizzas, and all of a sudden it started to rain, and next thing I know, I'm like, that's snow.
Yep.
It's what was that? She'll know who farted in the car. What? Okay. I don't know who that was. Anyway.
Let's see, hi, Sherry.
So we got snow last night, but yeah, planning to get out as much as we can.
Snow in October already.
Yeah. Well, those higher elevations,
Yeah.
Mother's Day, when I filled in for you, Chris, when Tom Steamer was on, we had to come off the mountain. There was the worst snow I've seen in that time of year. I thought we were going to die coming off the mountain. We were sliding all the way down the hill. So, but yeah.
Were you driving?
Oh, no. I have an expert field driver,
So you're a little white knuckled and coming off that.
Yeah. I mean, the man is driven from the States to Brazil or to Belize in a 2-wheel drive pickup.
That's right. Now he's driving a 4-wheel going down the hill in snow going, we got this.
Yeah. Yeah. But it just trying to look outside the box. I mean, that's the big thing is what can we do? How can we put this together outside the box and either prove or disprove that this topic is out here. But every time I get ready to walk away from it, there's another rock throw, as we started the show out with, and it just makes you kind of look and go, what's next on this this path. So, but we're there.
I'm interested in finding some more of those seed pod trees now.
Yeah. If I can find those photos, I know I got them buried on one of the external drives I got around here. Oh, there's
it could just be a coincidence, but that seems
Well, some good news and some bad news. The good news for next Sunday, it's supposed to be 58 with a low of 45. So that's okay. The bad news is it's going to be sporadic showers.
Oh,
That's the bad news. But that's why we have the lid on the Bronco.
maybe it's those little tiny ice particles hitting you.
No, it's
Maddie.
going to be warm. I mean, 58 for Halloween is warm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and we always get snow up here for Halloween. So
And I remember
Metro
days
Florida Bigfoot. Hello.
taking the kids trick or treating.
Yeah.
In snow. With snow on the ground. So it's not unusual to have snow on the ground here, but luckily there's no snow in our forecast for the next week. So we're getting closer. But
well, we're at that point in time now to where there's no heat on or no AC on, and that I love that little point of time to where my electric bill can relax for just maybe a few weeks. But pretty soon, I'm certain the heat's going to come on.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of lucky in the fact that my my air conditioners don't suck up a lot of juice, and really didn't use that much in electricity this year for the air conditioners. I just recently went to electric heat because we were on gas heating, and the price of gas has gone through the roof. So, so I said, well, we have dual. So and the heater in the house is it's not kick. The thermostat's kind of out of funk. So I'm like, the hell with it, and turn the propane off, and I'm going to move to electric and see how we do there, because at least there you can.
Well, I want to get the solar hooked up to this house because we've got it at the other house and we don't live there. So, there's no point in making the electricity if you're not using it. But I would certainly like to have some of that solar here.
Yep, exactly. So, we've had a great show tonight, and no sense in dragging this out anymore. I think we've gotten a lot of the points across today. And of course, next week we're going to have a 2-hour show in the field. And I don't know if I can pump that any longer than 2 hours. I'm going to find out, because if I can do a 3-hour show, that would be fun, and just go in the woods. And Mike's going, oh, shit.
No, I mean, if I didn't have to go from here to that conference and make sure my presentations are all set, I would be driving up there. But the conference is in between, and it's a 3-day, and I'm presenting twice. So, and
not on Sasquatch here either.
It's let's just say that some of the stuff crosses paths, and the networks that we make and the people we meet doing this, sometimes you got to look, never discount a witness, guys, because everybody has something. Find out what and Steve, I think you've said this before, but I know I've mentioned it before, is find out what the person does for a living, because their look at things is going to be totally different.
Absolutely.
If you've got the garbage man, he's looking at something different. He looks at a house every day. He looks at what people throw out. He's going to look what's in the environment a little bit different than your biologist is, or what your school teacher's going to look for, what somebody's going to listen for, the sounds.
Yep.
That's
or what your hunter's going
to but it's, and again, what does your hunter do as an outside job? I mean, that's a big thing, looking at a machinist, he's going to look at tolerances and sizes a lot different than somebody else's. An artist is going to look at color, it's what's that seasonal stuff, and here's a whole nother thing. We I came across the other day. I was driving from Elmira back up to where I'm at and looking at the seasonal colors. And I reached out to the Unk and I said, hey, we got to find some primatologists and stuff like that. Is there any changes in hair color seasonally, or due to hormonal changes? like you would get with some other species of animal.
From what I
you know?
understand, and I've done a lot of studying on primates.
Yep.
From what I understand, there isn't. Your hair color doesn't necessarily change from season to season.
But there are certain color changes due to hormonals. Well, age, yep.
Age.
But that's, and from sex to sex,
Yes.
that's a big thing. So my big thing was we're driving through and I'm like, boy, is there something you're going to get,
Right.
Again, where we got to go back and look at some of the stuff we're doing when we started doing this is looking at some of those early, early primates and, the UV. And here's another thing, guys, is this is going to go towards vision. And again, we're bringing in some other guys, kind of, it's a parallel study to this. If you look at the, the slow Lorax, their eyes will that gives you that red eye shine. You're looking for that. So that's an early primate. It has some of those things, but man, those things are poisonous too. How did they get a venomous gland, in a primate? So looking at some of that stuff, everybody kind of goes, well, that's something different. It doesn't look like a monkey. Well, it's still in our line. So each of those things is a little different. And that makes a good thing is, where are we at? Where are those different? Yeah. So look up eye shine in those guys. Look at their fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4,
5,
6. Yeah. So you got 3,
7?
3. Yeah. So
I don't know what his problem is. Maybe
but look, if you look for the eye shine, their eye shine is red. And they're a nocturnal species, but they are in our line. So some of that old DNA, some of that historical stuff, well, it could throw things off a little bit, and you look at, the color phases of gibbons and stuff. It's there. There's some better ones out, but look at those hands. Those are a funky hand,
Look at the eyes shining red.
Those eyes.
Yeah. But look at it's almost like a cat's eye,
Well, they are. The actual pupils are inverted.
Yeah.
Similar to a cat or a fox. That's the people wonder why foxes look funky is because their pupils are vertical instead of horizontal, and obviously the Lorax from this appearance looks like the pupils are vertical as opposed to
round. Yeah.
Okay.
Speak for the trees.
It's almost a star there, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, and look, you can tell. Look at the nail bed. You can see a nail bed there. It's just pretty amazing how this was earlier. I mean, they still have the longer snout, the ears, but you can almost see if you were to cut that away, it looked like a human ear almost.
Yeah, not really overly pronounced ears, so they look like almost like they're shrinking.
And like I said, they're venomous.
Yes.
I'm like, all those things that everybody goes, well, we can rule that out. It can't be this. Well, go back. Because we always want to stay on this path. Mm-hmm. We gotta turn around and spread that out a little bit because that genetic code is there. And I'm not saying we're one of these, but the ability is there. Or you look at what a Tibetan monk can do, or a yogi with controlled breathing and everything. The whole. I didn't see it. It's not close enough, and I had a tape measure around here. I mean, you and I talk about it, Steve, all the time. Is well, it didn't. It wasn't here. Well, where's the last place you saw it? Look at the toes on the bottom.
Yep.
Look at those nail beds. I mean, they're there. I mean, look at that hand,
and look at the lack of ears on this one.
Yep. But there's that pronounced snout.
Yep.
Not super, but just a little bit. And look at the color variation we've seen. We've got a red, we've got the gray, we've got the white. It's there a little bit. Man, I don't know if they throw anything or not, but aren't they cute? And they kill you really quick too. or not kill you, just give you a really bad day. But we don't. Sometimes there's things we just don't look at as some of those things. You know, you look at the gibbons, how many different color variations that they have from the grays to the blacks and stuff like that. So it's stuff that we've got. I mean, how many different phases and stuff that we do. And again, when you look at this hair thing, it's crazy what you're going to see in the scales in the human hair compared to other animals. And when we talk about fur and hair, the only difference is what we're calling it in the length, because it's all made of the same stuff. It's just how it morphs out. So looking at that stuff, man, he looks just sad. But look at how big those toes are. Wow.
Now, here is the
found the eye shine. Did you find the eye shine one?
No, here's a tarsier, which is another primate. And look at that. Again, another primate with a tapedum lucidum.
Yep.
And again, in this case, lack of a complete, pronounced snout.
Yeah.
The ears are a little more pronounced. Look at the gangly, and again, nail beds.
Yeah.
Yep. Precious. All I can hear is just seeing that thing go, where's my precious?
Precious.
It does. It does. Yeah.
But look, I mean, nice. Look at the lip structure and everything else. But again, here's something. If we could get a hold of a hair sample from something like this to take a look at, what's there.
I think you'd have a fight in your hands.
Oh yeah, I would. But again, those. Everything's got a little, the pygmy marmoset. There's another thing with a very large set of eyes.
I'm
we
very
don't have any of
intrigued.
those in Kentucky.
Hey, what is up? You came up with a great comment. Hello and welcome. What is up?
Yep.
Said sunlight will change hair color too. Agreed.
Yeah, and again, the refraction and stuff like that, and we all see color different. And the other point that's been made as we've gone along is. Folks that have had certain cataract surgeries and stuff like that see in a spectrum, or catch, phases of UV. And again, it's finding those folks that have a background in these things and is it there? And again, is it the filter of the camera and we're not seeing it? We've got access to some equipment that's a little above and beyond the cell phone cameras and the UV lights. But if we can start at a grassroots and at least start identifying stuff, there's a lot of things. My other light's out in the car, but wrong box. These toolboxes back here. I picked up this eye light, which does 360 different variations of light color.
Mm-hmm.
Full spectrum cameras. We've been playing. Luckily, where I am at, the Photo City, we've got a lot of stuff that's there. That's almost CGI'd almost.
Looks like Chris's bookie.
But I like where Alan's going there. It's a grasshopper says different hair oils might reflect different light frequencies. And
good point. Here's where some of those technologies, like a full spectrum camera, which is used in the paranormal side.
And that's the things that are out there. I mean, and we look at the oils things, and that's a whole nother spin that Doug's doing on his the sebum project, and where that oil sits. What? Oh, that's your.
Sounds like a ski.
Ski. Yeah. We're not sponsored by Ski, but I drink it by the case, so they should sponsor us.
Again, like I said, when we go in and we look at some of the different looks of, we know that the caribous are seen in UV. We see the flying squirrels show up in UV. Is it something we're seeing at night? And is it something they're eating? Is it like a flamingo that it's getting, the colors from what it's eating out of the woods? Hey, Amy. But like I said, each state that we go out there and we look at things, it's just how can we look at things different? And I'm lucky that I have a partner that's got a brain that runs about, I don't know. I'm running on that old, what am I thinking? Single calculator, and he's got a full supercomputer in his brain going sometimes. So
I don't know. I wouldn't say yourself short there, Mike.
Yeah.
My mom currently has a flying squirrel in her fireplace.
Amy, could you pull a few hairs?
Yeah.
If it's not burned to a crisp by now.
They might be all singed off.
Hey, you know what? Bring that flying squirrel down to Chef Pierre, and he will cook him up for the Roadkill Cafe.
Alan, you're running the full spectrum cameras. You guys really want to mess around with stuff? Look at a biofield imaging camera.
Hey, you know what? That can be the flying squirrel.
It might be pretty good. I don't know. Tastes like chicken. I don't know if that.
I'll eat a squirrel in a minute. I'll never eat a flying one though.
You know,
I don't know.
Have you ever eaten a squirrel, Chris?
Many, probably dozens. Yes, I have.
Really?
Yes.
I know good. That's a southern thing.
It is, and they're really good.
It's a northern thing. Come over here. They shoots all the time and stuff like that. But
yeah,
what do they taste like? Squirrel?
Of course, everything tastes like chicken, but it's like you're eating a chicken leg, like dark meat on a chicken. Yeah. You can have them fried, which is my favorite. And my mother and my grandmother used to fry them whole, not chop them up, just the whole thing. I mean, of course, it's clean and dressed, but fry the whole thing. And so you would pick one up off the plate, front haunch ear, back haunch ear, and take a bite.
I guess that's where the term crispy critter came from.
They also stew them. You can put them in a stew, but now that's a lot of extra trouble because you gotta like pick them up and rake the meat off the bones and take the bones out of the stew. But people love stewed squirrel.
Hey, better late than never, Prairie Fire. At least you can catch the replay.
But no, I haven't eaten.
He's got squirrel cookers.
What?
I haven't eaten any squirrel in a long time. I'm on. Have to be on the chicken and turkey diet now, so no squirrels.
We know who's prepped for the end of the world, and the groceries aren't there. Jeez. Totally just
rabbits.
My train.
Rabbits? Yeah, love rabbits. The wife was shocked. She said, "Tell me something. Do you eat rabbits?" Well, yeah. I mean, not lately, but yeah, I've eaten them. They're good. And because in Thailand, they keep rabbits like for pets. Like we would have a house cat, they have a house rabbit, So she said, "Oh, no, rabbits are pets. You should never eat a rabbit." I said, "Well, okay, I won't eat any more. But they are good." And it tastes like the back legs on the rabbit is white meat, just as good as any chicken breasts you ever had in your life. Really good.
And woodchuck's in the squirrel family too, right?
Well, I've never ate one of those because it would probably take 3 dozen.
Not chipmunk, woodchuck.
Oh, okay. No. Never eaten one of those either.
I feel so sophisticated all of a sudden.
I'm sorry, Steve.
Yeah. Well, I guess eating a squirrel is what you have to do when you're,
Well, I hope I didn't cross some sort of line of honesty here. That
No, not at all. Not at all. In fact, when I was in Louisiana way back when, I remember it was just prior to the big, they used to have this big festival where they used to go on the squirrel hunt, and then they would bring it back to the camp, and there was, a couple hundred people there, and they would cook the squirrel up and see who had the best recipe.
Huh.
And then in talking to them, the people there, they're like, "Oh, you ever have a raccoon? Oh, you gotta cook them right, because if you don't, you gotta wrap them, and you gotta put a lot of garlic and butter in them, and you gotta wrap them in foil." And come on.
I don't know about that. I've never eat a raccoon, never eat a possum. I did eat a groundhog once. It wasn't bad.
That's woodchuck, groundhog, same thing.
It tastes like pork, It really does. It tastes like pork.
I've eaten alligator.
Nah, I ain't eating nothing like that.
You seen that now? All of a sudden it goes like, no.
No. Ain't no alligator, no snake.
I've had some
like
Cajun cook gator. So,
yeah.
And look who also dipped in was Joe. Hello,
there
Joe.
he is.
Joe.
Say, good job, Amy. I wouldn't either.
Squirrel cooker. Keep squirrels. Amy, I don't eat them anymore. You know,
Prairie Fire said iguana as well.
Oh no reptiles. No.
You don't eat a reptile. Have you ever had frog's legs?
No. Well, I had tasted.
Well, that's an amphibian.
That's
close. It's kind of like a reptile that has a special feature.
Years ago, I'm sitting at somebody's house and they said, "Try a frog." No, I don't want no frog. Come on, try one. All right, I'll try one. Did you like it? Not really.
So let me just say this: alligator to me, and I had it Cajun blackened alligator. It tasted to me like pork, very much like pork. Very white meat, but it's like pork.
Yeah. I think everything tastes like either
buddy
chicken
Steve
or
says
pork.
that snake isn't too bad either.
Snake's pretty good. You just eat what's there, Kangaroo's not bad. Ostrich isn't bad. Dog's not bad. Cat's not bad. You just
dog and cat.
If you don't know what you're eating until after you eat it, you just do what you got to do.
I did have a bite of rattlesnake at the rattlesnake roundup at Alamogordo years ago, but the way they did it, they deep fried it, then dipped it in butter, and it was just a little ring. And that one little bite, that all I tasted was butter. And so, I don't know what it tastes like, to be honest. It tastes like butter,
Oh, let's not forget turtle stew. Turtle.
I've heard of people eating snapping turtles. Yes, and they love them, but not for me. No. But being from Kentucky, I mean, I'm not like from the hills or anything, but I've eaten my share of squirrels, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
By the way, Amy says, "Stay away from my house cats." Yeah,
I didn't know what I was eating till halfway through the dinner.
Cat pie, cat stew, and the ever so popular cat tattooing.
That's the thing, Mike. Were you previously in the military at one point?
I worked for a contractor, but no, I was at a martial arts convention in another country, and
that's it. When you start doing some world traveling, sometimes you don't get a choice. It just shows up on the table and you start eating. And like, wow, this is good. What is this? You're eating a cat. What?
No, it was a big family style dinner, and I definitely in that room was not going to say no to anything that was put in front of me.
Right.
But we're talking about all this stuff, and again, to go back to the air thing, is what minerals, what stuff is going into that system,
Right. Hey, and by the way,
I got to look at the blueberries and see if the blueberries do anything, because you guys are always chasing blueberry patches places. So,
and you know what? While we got Amy here, I hope she's doing better. Yep. So, because we want to see her butt out there squatching next year. So,
yep.
So, black bear I've heard is pretty good.
And see, I just hear that's oily, so I don't know. Wild boar is not bad.
Yes, I've had plenty of wild boar. Yep.
You're getting close,
And venison. Venison's okay. Yep. Well, folks, we're getting close to the end here, so let's wrap up. We've already kind of had a wrap up and kind of get off on a tangent. But Mr. Bennett, do your thing, sir.
Well, I just want to apologize for mentioning that I've had certain wildlife in my past life.
Chris. It's all good.
But I want to thank Mike for coming on tonight. I really appreciate having you. Always a pleasure.
I appreciate you.
Thank everybody over in the chat area and all our listeners for bearing with us. We appreciate it. It's always great to have you guys here, and you always have so many great questions. Thank you. We wouldn't have a show without you. If it's the first time watching on YouTube, consider giving us a like and subscribe. We appreciate it. Helps the algorithm. People find us better. And I'll turn it back over to Steve.
And of course, I want to thank Mike for coming on tonight. And it's always fun when Mike and I get together. either in person or especially in person. So I hope we can get out at least one or twice more before the end of this, before, the winter crap starts and makes things really miserable, unless you're doing it by vehicle. And of course, my areas are pretty much shut down when winter hits. They close all the roads and you can't go anywhere. Yeah. So that's the unfortunate thing.
We might have to make a road trip, Steve, because I had somebody in Vermont reach back out soon. So.
Oh, yes. I mean, yeah, we got it. Yes. And you know what? That kind of fell off my radar with everything that's been going on with me. I got to get that back on the radar. So I do have her number. I'll probably give her a call, hopefully tomorrow. Yes. Which tomorrow I'm getting my shot number 3 tomorrow. So I get my booster tomorrow. So, okay, folks. Again, thanks, Mike. And
thank you, gentlemen.
We want to wish everybody a great week. And thanks for being here tonight. We love you guys. You are the greatest audience in the world. And I mean that truly. We love all of yous. Like I said, like Chris says, give us a first time here, give us a subscribe, hit that notification bell, give us a like. We can use them. And remember, sharing is caring. Don't be afraid to get on your Facebook and share the podcast as well. We all appreciate everything you guys do for us. So on behalf of me and everybody else here, we want to wish everybody a happy, safe, and healthy week. Of course, God bless and keep on squatching. We'll catch you all here next week, Sunday night, 9 p.m. for our Halloween special in the woods. We'll catch you all next week. Ciao for now.
Hey folks, you've been watching Squatch-D TV. Join us each week, Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for the latest on the Bigfoot mystery. As always, we thank you for being our loyal viewers and encourage all to subscribe to our YouTube page at youtube.com/Steve Kulls. As always, have a great week. Stay safe. God bless and keep on squatching.